I'm Sophia Ha, owner and founder of Face Yoga Renew and the Holistic Facelift. I am absolutely privileged today because I have a very, very special guest to speak with me today. He is a renowned international business trainer, Michael Bang. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Wow, Sophia, what an introduction. I'm also very pleased to be here and together with you and have this conversation.
Well, I think this is going to be such a helpful conversation for so many. I know that your workshops are so impactful. You have a workshop coming up on April 4th, which is just a couple weeks away in Toronto at the Improve Canada Business Center. I'm so excited to actually meet you in person. So this is kind of a preemptive talk. But I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of what it is that you're actually teaching, what are the foundations, and what it is that people actually get out of your workshop. So before we get into the sort of meat of it, the meat of everything, share with me a little bit about your achievements.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm an international business trainer. So that means I train people how to become more successful, both in their personal life and in their business. Because if you want to have a long-term business success, you also have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to get along with yourself. Otherwise, you will have stress and you burn out and you don't like it, etc. So basically, I train people to do that. One of my first sales jobs were door-to-door selling in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I was born in Denmark, Scandinavia. And I hated it, to tell the truth. And sometimes when I was knocking on
It's
the
such a hard job to do too, huh? Door
I
to door. Oh
tell
my
you,
gosh.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember sometime I was knocking on the door, and in my mind, I'm hoping nobody is home. Nobody will open the door. That's how much inexperienced I was. But I was very fortunate. I had good trainers and people. My director was really, really good. So we did a lot of training. And then later on, I started training others.
Mhm. And correct me if I'm wrong, correct me on this quote, but I believe I read somewhere that you have trained upwards of like a three-quarters of a million people, three-quarters of a million, is that right?
No, that's maybe a little bit exaggerated. I think it's a 1/4 of a million.
One quarter of a million. I mean, that's still a
Yeah,
huge number.
yeah.
Um, what I'm hearing right away is, you're talking about, the challenge of that you experience as a sales rep, and here you are giving huge international workshops, right? So it's really to show that anybody can be good at sales, but they need to know some really basic fundamentals.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, um,
Hmm.
so you got your workshop coming up in Toronto, which again, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. If you don't already
Me
have this
too.
plugged in your calendar, April 4th. Share a little bit on some of the themes that you talk about in your workshops.
Yeah. To become really good at sales, we have to understand there are some, let's say, foundation to it. So we could say there are two types of selling. There is what we can call passive selling and active selling. Passive selling, everybody can do that. Everybody can make a lot of money in passive selling because the clients come to you and they say, I want to buy what you have. Here's the money. Take my money and give me what you have. It doesn't take a lot of expertise in doing that.
Mhm.
Now, active selling is very different. This is when we are out here in an extreme world hunting for the best possible clients for our business. And now, the moment you find the best clients, you need to find them before your competitors find them. And now you need to persuade them to buy from you and not to buy from your competitors. But that is active when you are actively selling. So persuasion, this is basically how do you change somebody's mind? How do you change the way somebody's thinking? So, for example, let's say I'm a car dealer, and next to my dealership, there are other dealers selling other brands of cars. So when a potential customer walks in, he has the money in his pocket. And there's a saying, money is king, because he can choose. Should he buy from Mercedes, BMW, Audi, or Ford, wherever he want to buy from? So when he come in, and now the salesperson gets excited, show him around and so on. Now, what if this person says, I need to think about it, or I want to check out the other brands first? So now active selling starts. And
Mhm.
that's what we're talking about. And this is basically the art of persuasion.
Mm. Such a powerful tool because I mean there's so many aspects in our lives that we can really use this for. But I think, as you're saying, I think that, especially when it comes to smaller businesses,
Mhm.
right? It can be such a challenge to learn that skill of persuasion. You might have some really amazing product, but knowing how to actually get it into people's hands or making them want it in the first place
Mhm.
is a whole other game, really.
Absolutely. So when we do our training, like now in Toronto on the 4th of April, then we will talk kind of, you want to be like a sales consultant. You consult people and you give recommendations. Or you could think I'm like a sales doctor. Because what does a doctor do? He makes an examination, make a diagnosis, and then he gives a recommendation. So if you take off your sales hat and you put on your doctor hat, and now you're a doctor of sales. And now you can now do much, much more sales because you're doing things that is really good for the client.
So you're really essentially focusing on the psychology of the client it's themselves, as well as in combination with shifting up your own thinking in
Mhm.
the way that you approach clients and customers, right?
No, you're
Um,
absolutely right. Yeah, I've seen it many times when you come into a store or to a shop, salesperson come up and say, "Can I help you?" But with these big dollar signs in their eyes. So they are not really caring for you. They care for your money. And
yeah.
this is, of course, how sales got a very bad reputation.
Mhm.
So many people think of selling. This is manipulation, cheating, tricking people, get people to do something which is not in their best interest. But now, the problem is, of course, we could say it's a psychological problem because in the mindset of people, we either have what we can call a sprint mindset or we have a marathon mindset. Now, if you look at our life journey, it's a marathon. It's a very long journey. And inside this marathon, there are all these small sprints. So many people, they kind of think, oh, I want money now. But to want money now is maybe not the best strategy. What if you think instead, I want money for life? So I don't want fitness now, I want fitness for life. So now your strategic planning is very different because now you're
Mm.
for the long haul, how to persuade in a good way, so which we call ethical persuasion, so that you build a good reputation, you build a brand. Now it becomes your competitive advantage. And
Mm.
now by building this trust, now people then would rather come to you than to go to your competitors, even if you might even be a little bit more expensive, because you know they can trust you.
Yeah.
And when we do the training in Toronto, we will go through this, the whole sales process. How are the different steps, what we will do in it?
Can you give us a kind of overview of what the process, what the sort of formulas look like in your workshop so people kind of have an understanding of what it is that they're actually going to be getting from the workshop, what they're taking away from the workshop?
The first we will go over, it is to understand to become a master persuader, your life will change. You never have to worry about money for the rest of your life because anybody or everybody are born to persuade from birth. We're just not good at it. We have forgotten how to do it. During the training, we will look at two key factors of selling. It is to have the right sales mindset, and second, to have the right sales skills. We need both the right mindset and the right skills. So that's why our training divided into two parts. The first half of the training, we will look at how do we develop a sales mindset? where people, after that first half of the training, they go, wow, I can actually do it. There's nothing wrong in selling. If we don't change this mindset, you will never learn. You will never be good at it. And the second part, we look at actual technology. And technology is how you develop the skills. Skills come from practicing specific technology. Just like if you do any sport, artist, etc., to become an expert, it takes enormous amount of practice.
What you're talking about is the mindset, which is, really number one for anybody in anything, if you want to be a successful person. And the second thing is the hard skills. Like, what are the persuasive or persuasion potential tactics that you can use? Or I don't like to use the word tactics, but exercises that you can use. Is that correct?
Very correct. For example, in technology would be, how do you do a sales presentation? What do you say? What information do you give? So we will, the audience, they will get templates where they can put things down to actually write scripts, because you need to have scripts. Now, many people have a misunderstanding about scripts because they have experienced maybe telemarketing or sales over the phone, and you can hear the reading from a script.
Reading, yes.
But this is because they're not trained correctly. So this has to be trained. So, and this is done through role playing. Like in martial arts, we were constantly role playing. One is punching, the other one is blocking. You keep doing over and over again until it is second nature. And the same we do in sales. Now, the only criteria is, do you want to become a master of sales or not? How ambitious are you? What kind of life do you want? It doesn't mean that the game of life is about earning money. Money is just one part of life. We need it because if you don't have enough money, you often have what we call financial stress. You're worried about it. You cannot buy what you really want. So we need to have a certain level of financial success to truly enjoy life. It doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire or billionaire. That's your choice. How much is for you a good life? At the same time, you also need to have a good mood. You have to be a positive person. You have to enjoy it.
And I think that's something that so many people, they start off with, starting their business and they're excited and they're motivated because it's the beginning. And then they start entering, some really serious struggles, and they kind of forget why they started doing it in the first place. The passion goes out the window, positivity, never mind. You know what I mean? It's just like,
absolutely
this, right? Like it's this sensation of being almost in so much fear that, the interaction with your business becomes something you have to do instead of something that you're still excited and wanting to do, right? And that's not a good way to wake up in the morning. You're right.
Absolutely. We see it very often, actually. Particularly if you take an entrepreneur, he starts his own business. Maybe in the beginning he worked by himself, then he hires one person, a second person, and maybe a few years later he has an actually small business. Maybe have 10, 20, 30, 50 people working for him. At the beginning, like you said, he was excited, he was passionate about it, but now he has a lot of problems. People is giving him problems. Personnel are not so loyal. Everybody wants more money by working less. There's taxes, social security, and there's all these problems. And now you're not excited anymore. And you kind of wonder, why did I start my business in the first place? Where's the fun? So you're absolutely right. But this is, again, the mindset.
Yeah.
So what we go through in the training, life is a game, but we need to learn how to play the game correctly so that we become successful. Business is just a game. But if there's too many problems, it's not a game anymore. And we want to change that part of it.
What would you say are sort of the main takeaways that people are really getting from the workshop?
Yeah, the first that most people say at the end of the workshop, now they feel this energy boost. They feel, wow, I feel more confident. I'm more positive now. I believe more in myself. That before the training or before the workshop, Well, a lot of negative things is happening because the world out there, really, truly, it's a jungle. It really is. But it has always been. This is nothing new. There's always been conflicts, problems, etc. Now, but the old saying, what is the law of the jungle? Only the strongest will survive. But to be strong is not enough. We also need to be smart. So this is the second thing that many people say, that now I feel stronger, more confident, but also now I'm smarter.
So what I'm hearing from you is people are leaving from the workshop feeling really inspired after feeling really negative and frustrated about their work. People are leaving feeling stronger and more capable, and they're also leaving with actual hard skills. So they're leaving with that inspiration. They're leaving with actual tactile things that they can start working with and implementing right away, which is amazing because I believe I was looking through some of your testimonials, and there were so many testimonials around like it's literally been a week or it's been like 2 weeks since I just did your workshop and I'm already seeing improvement. And
Yeah.
that's a pretty huge thing to say from simply just going to a workshop.
Every person or business falls into three categories. One, the lowest level, they're struggling. Life is not fun. Business is not fun. It's hard. They don't know exactly what to do. And there's a certain percentages of people and companies which are really in this third category. The second category, this is those who are doing okay. There's not something wow, but it's also not bad. But they're doing all right. But they don't know how long time they will do okay. How long time will it be normal? Because the world we're living in is changing so fast. New technologies, new ways of doing things, particularly in the area of sales. Since we have internet, now we have AI, ChatGPT, etc. All these new technologies which we can use, which is changing the whole business environment. But the first category of people, this is those who are really successful in life and business. And of course, we would love to get to that level. Now we can do it step by step. So I will say for the criteria for coming to this workshop, this is some specific question. Do you have a problem or difficulties? You are not quite sure how to deal with it. Are there something you have not been able to handle by yourself? Then come to the workshop because you will get ideas. And one thing that is, bring your business cards, bring your brochures, because there will be a lot of other business people, entrepreneurs, and can be from other industries. And then you can interact because it's a sales training. And when should we start selling? Now. We shouldn't start afterwards. So there will be a lot of practice, but we do it in such a fun way that everybody go, oh, I start to talk to people I know. And we have so many who actually end up finding clients during this workshop. The whole training will be a lot of fun. So I will explain some theory, some tools, principle, and then they will practice it. So theory, practice, theory, practice. And when we are practicing, we will rotate people so they will practice with different people. For whoever's watching this video, don't worry. Like, it will be fun. You will learn things. And whatever you pay for the training, I guarantee you 100% or 200%, you will earn the money back very fast if you're applying some of the things you're learning in the workshop.
You have a quote that goes something like, successful people create successful businesses, and successful businesses create successful people. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
And I love that because
yeah,
that's exactly what you're talking about, right? It's like we often forget how much simply by improving ourselves, improving our environment, how impactful, and improving our business, how impactful we really can be, And I think that often when we get so caught up in just the concerns about, money, we tend to forget what is the kind of life that we would actually like to live, and what is the kind of human being that I'd actually like to be in this existence, right? And so Michael, really, really, really excited. I know I keep repeating that, to see you in real life. Once again, the workshop title is How to Boost Sales Through Difficult Times. Again, we are going live. Well, Michael is. I'm just going to be in the audience. April 4th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it's a full day of really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of things. And we're going to have a ton of fun. And yeah, I just can't wait to meet you in person, Michael. Thank you so much again for this conversation.
Yeah. No, thank you to you, Sophia.